say it's the dream, but the silence feels louder than it seems. Applications sent like ships in the dark. No replies, no spark, no start. You think it's a paper, just words on a page, but it's a system to break out the cage. Get higher fast, it's more than your past. You're the go-to pro, let the world know. Get higher fast, leave the doubt in the past. Worried they're looking at the years you wear, like time erased what you bring to the chair. But it's not about age, it's the way you play. Pushing yourself, lead the way, the way. Connect to the ones who make the calls, shape the fear, break the walls. Get higher fast, it's more than your past. You're the go-to pro, let the world know. Get higher fast, leave the doubt in the past. Worried they're looking at the years you wear, like time erased what you bring to the chair. But it's not about age, it's the way you play. Pushing yourself, lead the way, the way. Connect to the ones who make the calls, shape the fear, break the walls. Get higher fast, it's more than your past. You're the go-to pro, let the world know. Get higher fast, leave the doubt in the past. Get higher fast, it's more than your past. You're the go-to pro, let the world know. Get higher fast.
You scroll through hundreds of job descriptions, but they all sound the same. You spend so much time on every application, but it doesn't seem to matter. You send off application after application, but never hear back. You thought the interview went so well, but it's a no. You jump through all the hoops. The news keeps saying how there are all these employers that are struggling to find people to hire. So why does finding a great job have to be so hard? It doesn't seem very logical or fair. It's not. The system is broken. It's not your fault. The process most people go through to get a job is awful. But here's the good news. The system isn't very smart. In fact, it's downright dumb. It can be beaten. How? Most prospective employers and employees today are using the same old tired strategies that have been around forever. It's like professional camouflage. Everybody just blends into the crowd. But you don't have to be that way anymore. You can get traction. You can stand out from the crowd to unleash your God-given potential, to help a world in need, to do work that matters, to earn what you and your family deserve. You can do this. You're meant to do this. There are bright things on the horizon for you. This is the way. Welcome to the workshop. Get hired fast without settling, getting ignored, or losing hope so you can do work that matters and earn what you and your family deserve. My name is Eric Woodard. I'm a high-performance career and leadership coach based out of Washington, D.C. And if you are here on this Tuesday in March, really just want to acknowledge you for being here. Plenty of other things you could be doing with your valuable time. And you've chosen to be here today, which tells me you're somebody who, you're a pro. You take your career seriously. So look, guys, we've got a little bit of a smaller crowd, right? Spring break, a lot of people are traveling, and it's a mighty crowd. So if you would, I want to know who you are. If you would, put in the chat who you are, what your name is, where you're from, and how long you've been on the job search, because I want to know. Because look, folks, Sometimes being on a long job hunt can feel a lot like pounding sand. Sometimes it can even feel like waiting on a glacier or maybe even wandering through the desert, right? Sometimes being on a long job hunt can feel like going into the arena. Hey there, Joan. It's been 3 months for you. I see you, Joan. So glad to have you here. Sometimes it can feel like looking into an abyss. I see you there, AN. It's been 4 weeks for you. Right. I see you guys. Wonder where you guys are from. Put it in the chat if you would, please. So who is this not for? So look, if you're somebody who's just super casual about your career, hi there, Mike in San Diego, 6 months for you. I see you there, right? Unwilling to do a lot of work. Hey there, Erica in Tennessee. I love Tennessee, the volunteer state. Looking since December. I see you there, Erica. All right. If you're, hey there, you're in Vegas. Hey there, Joan, San Antonio. If you're reluctant to take responsibility for the results you've been getting, if you're just interested in getting a job to make money, hey there, Scott, North Carolina. So just a few days for you. Hey there, Ronnie in Atlanta. It's been 3 months for you. I see you. If you're stuck in your ways and sort of closed-minded about trying new things, if you're unwilling to be authentic, this may not be the workshop for you. On the other hand, if you're unsure about the direction you want your career to go, if you've been struggling to find ways to describe what you do, if you're uncertain if your resume is any good, if you're wrestling with how to follow up after you apply, you're tired of applying and applying. Hey there, Manali in Albany, 2 months for you. I see you. Hi there, Constanzi. I'm sorry, I'm mispronouncing that. Hope Austin's still weird there. Hey there, Anne Marie in Virginia. Right? Yeah, daunted by the process. I see you there, Anne Marie. Hey, Alan in Atlanta, 10 months for you. I got you, man. I got you. If you've been doing interviews that seem to go great and you still get a big fat no, if you're sort of trapped in a job you don't like and you're not sure how you can escape, most of all, if you're losing hope, this is a workshop for you. So our agenda today, I'm just going to, like, some of you know who I am. Some of you have friends or family that you heard about that went through our program and got hired real damn fast. And so you attended this workshop because like you want to find out more. Hey there, Michael in the Garden State. Nice to have you here. Right. And a lot of you maybe just got kind of a weird message on LinkedIn. You're like, who the hell is this guy? How am I at this workshop? I don't even know how I got here. I'm just going to tell you a little bit about where I'm coming from. Hey there, Shannon in the Lone Star State. Nice to see you. Right. Hi there, Robert Murphy on LinkedIn, North Carolina. Nice to see you. 6 months for you. I'm going to give you 4 strategies and 9 tactics today, my friends, that are going to help you elevate your job search real fast. We're going to have time for Q&A. And guys, I've got a special invitation for people who attend this this workshop or are watching the replay. It's for you too. As part of my practice, I give away free coaching calls, right? These are with like real professional coaches. This, I'm not going to sell you anything today on this workshop. The only thing I have to offer is this free coaching call. And so, yeah, if that's something you're interested in, I know our calendar is going to fill up really quick because people grab it. The only requirements for doing the call are, 1, you're not going to schedule it and cancel. My team's not that big. Don't do that to us. 2, you're at least open to the idea of making an investment in yourself, right? And 3, you're ready to get started, right? And usually the outcome of that call is you get some really great coaching. And some people will sign up to work with us doing that call, and a lot of people don't. And either way is fine. And part of the reason we want to do the call is we don't even know if we can help you. So and we'll talk more about that. But we've got Jessa and Cherry here. Jessa just put the link up to book a call. So if that's something you're wanting to do, go ahead and do that. Sorry, I just said all this. That's the link. And again, my team's calendar is going to fill up real damn fast. So if you want that free call and you're at least open to the idea of investing in yourself and you're ready to get started and you're going to show up, book a call. Yeah. All right. So here we go, guys. Who is this guy? So I'm kind of a weirdo. I grew up in the Far East. I didn't come to the States till I was 17. I wound up transferring college 7 times. Right here I am in the Midwest wondering why it's so damn cold. I eventually wound up as a scuba instructor on the island of Guam. That was pretty cool. Spent out 10,000 hours underwater, right, with the fish. And after a while, my brain got a little spongy, and I was, in my early 20s. I was like, okay, I got to figure this out. I thought, what would be the most prestigious job I could have? And I thought, well, that must be something like the White House. So I took out a piece of notebook paper and I hand wrote a letter to the White House. And I said, dear Mr. President, you should hire me. Worst letter ever written. Mailed that off to 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. I was like, I'm never hearing back about that. But about a month later, I was going past the Guam post office, and the guy came out. And he's like, Eric, you got a letter from the White House. It was on this cool White House stationery. I'd never seen anything like that. So I opened it up, and it was an internship application. Now, I didn't know what the hell an internship was, but I was really good at filling out applications because I transferred too many times. So I filled that out, sent it in, and I was sure I would never hear back. Of course, I didn't, but that got me thinking. I got a little inspired, applied to some grad schools. I eventually got into GW here in Washington, D.C., sort of landed with this big bushy haircut, right? Was dumpster diving for furniture. I was out running past the White House one day, and I thought, those White House bastards, they never even bothered to let me know about that internship thing, that application I filled out. What's up with that? So I found a payphone. I put in a quarter. I called them. I said, hey, you bastards, what about that internship thing? They're like, is this Eric from Guam? I'm like, yeah. They're like, man, we've been trying to get in touch with you. You start in the First Lady's office on Monday. I'm like, well, that's interesting, right? That's interesting. So I got a haircut and I bought a suit and I showed up. Now, look, folks, I know we got a lot of political craziness in our country. I know my politics match yours. Please forgive me, I guess, if they don't. I was going to tell you how old I am. This is back during the Clinton administration. I went to work for Hillary Rodham Clinton. She was a great boss. Wound up on her staff after a little bit of time, right? Was one of the few guys in Hillary land. Was with her for a lot of the Clinton administration on her team. Followed her to the U.S. Senate, where we did a lot of cool stuff for the great state of New York. Then followed her to the U.S. State Department, where I did a bunch of stuff at UNESCO. And then eventually I left Hillary land and became director of fellowships and internships at the Smithsonian Institution. And all during that time, seeing people at all different levels of their career, early professionals, mid-career professionals, really seasoned senior people, all different industries, I would see the same movie over and over where people who had gifts to unleash upon the world were sort of hemmed in because of a hiring system that's not very linear, logical, or fair, even though many people say it is. It's obviously not, right? So now I do a lot of coaching, right? I've written a bunch of books. I have a bunch of fancy pieces of paper and degrees and certifications. I have an outrageous number of testimonials, and you don't care about any of that because what you care about is, can I help you? I don't know. Maybe. Let's find out. Let's dive in. All right, guys, here we go. 4 strategies you can use to elevate your job search right now. Here's my first question for you. Put it in the chat. Guys, I like to give things away to people who answer questions, and we don't have that big of a group today. What's a good resume about? Put it in the chat if you would, please. Let's see if anybody gets the answer right. I'll be curious to know. Sometimes there's a little bit of a delay, right? So don't worry. If you put your answer in and I don't see it, sometimes it takes a second. What do you think a good resume is about? What do you think? I wonder if anybody knows. Okay, here we got some answers. Peter Green, what you can do for the company you are applying for. Full information about ourselves, says Hector. All right, what other takers we got here? I haven't seen the right answer yet. Right? SN says brand identity. Joan says it shows strength. Mijay says who I am. And Anne-Marie says it's clarity about what you deliver in less than a minute. Can this person do the job we are posting for? I kind of like what AN's saying there. Matches your experience to their requirements. Okay, so Scott says selling yourself. We'll come back to that, Scott. Michael says results. Okay, Michael says results. All right, so guys, I haven't really seen the right. Oh, Hector also says selling yourself, right? What a lot of you are saying a good resume is about you. It's about selling myself. Or Michael says it's about metrics, right? I think AN is the closest. So we're going to give it to AN. So, Ann, we want to make sure we have your full name, right? We're going to send you this course. It's called How to Make Your LinkedIn Profile Awesome, Ann. So, if you don't hear from us, you're going to, we'll drop my email address in the chat, Jessa and Cher, if you don't mind. And Ann can let us know that they won the giveaway, right? So a lot of you are saying good resume is about you. Nah, it's not about you. And it's not even about how you can help them. A good resume is about them. We want to be influential with another person or organization. The first thing we're going to want to do isn't talk a lot about ourselves. We're going to want to talk about them, right? This brings us to strategy number 1. Good resume is not about you. It's about them. Folks, if you get nothing else out of this workshop today and you get this, it will change your job search. Okay, good resume is about them. And when I say resume, I mean your cover letter, your follow-up, your networking, your interview. Make it all about them. This is certainly not about selling yourself. Guys, we've gone over this historically. Selling people's weird, buying people's weirder. It's creepy. Don't do that. It's frowned upon, right? Yeah, that's great. Thanks so much, guys. Right? Because employers are focused on themselves, so we might as well focus where they're focused, guys. And it's no wonder, right? In a job hunt, when we do our first resume, we make it about ourselves, because in school, very likely when we did that first resume, hey, Alicia, boy, you're so Alicia booked a coaching call. Nice job, Alicia. Good job. We look forward to talking to you, Alicia. Nice work. right? So it's like very likely the first resume we did was out of school. And in school, it is very much about us. It's our cubby, it's our desk, it's our workbook, it's our transcript, right? And when we move to the working world, those of you who are seasoned pros know that it's not about us, it's about this constituent, the client, the customer. So in a job hunt, guys, if you get nothing else out of this workshop today and you get this, it'll be worth the price of admission. Make the resume about them and watch the miracles that'll unfold. All right, guys, I got another question for you. If I went to a public library and I saw a shelf full of storybooks, okay, a shelf full of storybooks, and I pull off one of those books, I look at the front cover, and in the front cover of those books, there'd be some words. What do we call those words? All right, so I see a book, it's a storybook, and I look at the front cover. What do we call those words in English? Let's see if anybody gets this right. I'm sure you will, right? Alicia, we look forward to talking to you. Nice job. Alicia's booking a coaching call. Good job. What do we call those words, folks? Who knows the words? So Joan Vera. Good job, Joan. She's right. It's a title. Now, Joan, make sure if you would, you email Jessa and Cherry are gonna send you the right email address. And Joan, you let us know. You say, hey, I won the free LinkedIn course, and we'll send it to you. Okay, it's a title. So Mike says bait, right? Hey, Peter, you booked a call. Nice job, Peter. I saw you earlier. Good job. So Peter booked a coaching call. Way to go. So it's a title. Title in the name of the author says, yeah, that's right, Hector, it's title. So isn't it interesting that's the same term we use to label people in the workplace, which tells me that just like we'll put the title on a storybook, we put a title on the story of somebody's career. Let me ask, I got another question for you. Here we go. What percent of human decision-making is emotional and what percent is logical? Put it in the chat if you would, please. Let's see if anybody gets this right. So what percent is emotional and what percent is logical? Is it 50-50, 40-50, 60-40? So what's the ratio of emotion to logic when it comes to human decision-making? Let's see if anybody gets this right. Let's see, because I want to give away more of these LinkedIn courses, right? Okay, so Miguel says it's 10-90, right? Hector says it's 45-63. You're missing a couple percentage points there, my brother, right? Or it's more than 100%. So Ann says it's 60, right? Hi, Atara, it says it's 60-40. Joan says 70-25. Ronnie says 60-40. Anthony says it's 75. Constanzi says 75. I haven't seen the right answer yet. I think is that Mike says 90-10. Nope. I haven't seen the right answer yet. I'll give it just a few more seconds. Guys, human decision-making is 100% emotional. It's 100% emotional. Hey, Robert, did you book a coaching call? That's great. Make sure if we don't see Robert, drop that link in the chat, guys, so Robert can book a coaching call, right? It's 100% emotional. And the reason we know it's 100% emotional, what, says Anthony? Atara says, wow, right, is because when somebody gets their limbic system damaged, they're fine, except they can't make a single decision, and that's the debilitating part, right? Which is the reason stories are so important, is because stories are how we convey emotion. You know, there's people out there who say you need to have people make data-driven decisions. No, they don't. Nobody does. Now, like when you first joined this call, okay, you made a very quick decision around whether you liked my face, my hair, my shirt, the music we were playing, whether you thought I was full of shit. I mean, it was a very quick decision. And now you're just collecting data to rationalize the emotional decision that you've already made. And it's the same way with everybody. So realize the reason stories are so important is stories are how we convey emotion. And if you're not using story in your resume, your cover letter, your follow-up, your networking, the interview, you're really leaving a lot on the table. So notice I'm about to tell a story, right? One time I was taking applications for a program and this woman applied. Her name was Maggie. And Maggie, and all the applications were pretty much the same. Hey, Scott, you booked a coaching call. Good job, Scott. We look forward to talking to you. Nice work, right? So so Maggie had applied and she wrote how the summer before she'd been in a terrible car accident and her arm had been severed. I was like, oh my gosh, that's quite a story. So we accepted Maggie to the program. And as her first day was nearing, I was, thinking about, okay, what accommodations do we need to make for one-armed Maggie, right? So Maggie walks in the first day, 2 arms. Now, it was bandaged from where it had been partially severed and reattached, and Maggie was doing some physical therapy. Now, was I pissed off that Maggie had 2 arms? Of course not. I was so happy she had both her arms. And I remember that feeling to this day. That was probably 30 years ago, right? Stories, really, really, really important. All right, guys, who can tell me? Hey, Darren, you booked a coaching call. Way to go, Darren. Man, you guys are a great crowd. It's a little bit of a smaller crowd today, but you guys are like showing up for yourselves. Great job, guys. And again, I'm sure I still have room on my calendar, but it's probably going quick. So if you want one of those coaching calls, don't wait. All right, what's this guy called? What's this guy's name? I'll give you a hint. He lives in Idaho. What's this guy's name? He's a friend of the llama. See, I've never had one of these workshops where somebody doesn't know who this is. Let's see if this is the first one. Oh, Kanzanzi. Constanzi, I'm so mispronouncing your name. I so apologize, but you are correct. This is Napoleon Dynamite. So we want to send you this free LinkedIn course. So Kanzan or C. Kertel, if you would put my team's gonna message you with the email, and you email us and say, hey, I got that free LinkedIn course, and we'll send it to you. We'll send it to you. And Anne-Marie and Steven and Joan, you don't know who he is. Joan doesn't know who he is. It's Napoleon Dynamite. Now look, folks, if you haven't seen this fine piece of cinema, take a pause on your job search and go watch this piece of cinema, because I mean, come on, folks, we're trying to create a society here, please, right? And here's the deal with this particular scene. Napoleon's a high school kid. I won't ruin the movie for you, but he sort of beats to his own drum. In this particular scene, he finds himself on stage in front of his entire school, right? He's managed to get a cassette tape up to the sound booth, which is starting to play, and now Napoleon is on the hook to do some kind of performance for which he has not prepared. So what does Napoleon do? Well, he does a dance routine. Hey, Anthony, you booked a coaching call. Nice job, Anthony. We look forward to talking to you. So Napoleon does this dance routine. Now, folks, this is the craziest damn thing you've ever seen. Napoleon metaphorically opens the kimono. And when he's done it, he's sort of panting and sweaty, and all of his classmates are like this. And then they burst into applause. And the reason it works is because it's so authentic. Jamie Kern-Lima, the founder of IT Cosmetics, says everybody's a good dancer if they commit fully. And she's right. This brings us to strategy number 3, which is the idea of authenticity. Let me ask you a question. Who do humans hire? Well, I'll tell you, humans hire humans. What? But Eric, what about the ATS? What about the algorithm? Hey, Elizabeth, you booked a coaching call. Nice job. We look forward to talking to you. Right? What about the ATS, Eric? What about the algorithms? I've heard I need an ATS optimized resume. Yeah, how's that working for you? I'm sorry, right? I just in an increasingly automated artificial world, the opportunity is for you to be more human, not less. For you to be more Elizabeth, not less. For you to be more Hector, not less. Right? Nobody can be a better Hector than Hector. So let's use that. And guys, I'm not against AI. It's miraculous. It's fun. And for job searching, there's not a lot of places where it's particularly useful. All right? Because humans hire humans. So the opportunity in your job search is not to be more automated, more artificial. The opportunity is to be more human. Because at the end of the day, that's who they're going to hire, is the human. All right? So for example, one time I was working with Nina. All right, we were working on Nina's resume, and I said, Nina, this is pretty good, but I got to ask you a question. Where's the evidence in your resume that you're a human? She's like, huh? I'm like, well, what do you like to do for fun? And so I got out of Nina that she had a pen collection. I'm like, I don't know, that's super effing weird. We got to put that on there. And she's like, oh, no, I could never do that. That would be too silly. And I was like, okay. I heard from Nina a month later. She went into the interview. They talked about pens for 30 minutes, and then she got the job. I cannot tell you how often this works for my clients, right? We had somebody about a year ago, it was a little over that actually, a lady in Vegas, she put on her resume at the bottom, this was her idea, 2 truths and a lie. She got 2 interviews and 2 offers just from that. Mostly because they were curious what the lie was. George W. booked a call. Nice job, George. Right? So you're going to want to be more human, not less. Authenticity is your superpower. All right, guys, here we go. Abe Lincoln says, give me 6 hours to cut down a tree. I'll spend the first 4 sharpening the axe. This brings us to the idea of systems. The results you're currently getting in your job search are perfectly attuned to your current systems. And now some of you are like, well, I don't have a system. That's my problem. Yeah, you do. Some of you have a system called, I'm going to blame the economy. Some of you have a system called, I'm going to hide my age because some 20-something recruiter told me, or maybe I'll take off all but the last 15 years of my experience. That's your system. Some of you have a system called, I'm going to put an executive summary, whatever the hell that is, at the top of my resume because, or I might even put the title of the job I'm applying to. That'll do it. How are those systems working? I don't know. And my suspicion is that a lot of times those sorts of systems don't work really well. So guys, this isn't about there being anything wrong with you. It's not about your skills or your experience. It's just your system isn't working. So if you want to get different results than the result you've been getting, you're going to want to adopt a different system. Now, look, folks, for a lot of you, this is your current job searching system. And I got to hand it to you. My heart goes to you. I mean, you've like worked your heart out. I mean, you've done every permutation of the dials, and you got the sticky gear shift and the button. Yeah, I'm sorry, Anthony. It's okay. You could be mad, or you could just change your system, Anthony, right? It's okay to be mad. Why not take all that time and energy being mad? Just change your system. It doesn't have to be that hard, right? A lot of you have worked your heart out with this system. Here's what you're going to want to know. This is the system that's available. You can spend a lot of time and money trying to figure out how to go from this system to this system, or you could just get some help, right? You could just get some help. That's great, Hector. I'm glad you got hired. Good job, right? Right? You could just get some help, okay? So that's the opportunity here. John, you just booked a call. Good job. We look forward to talking to you. So how do you put this all to work? So first of all, folks, I want to just give you a little evidence that this does work. Guys, we're going to show them the video with Angel here in a second. So Angel was somebody who came to this workshop very much just like you. Shannon, you booked a call. So Angel booked a call just like Shannon just did. Nice job, Shannon. You booked a coaching call. And Angel wound up signing up with us. And this was her result. Let's show them. In the time we've got left, I'm curious, especially if there's somebody we haven't heard from yet. They've had a win, a loss. Angel, I got to ask you, what do we know, if anything? What do we know?
I got the job! Yay!
Whoa!
The offer. I'm moving in a week. Yeah, it's crazy. And I know when we first met, you're like, oh, like, let's get something by your birthday. And my birthday is in 4 days, so I was able to do it. Yay!
And I just want to acknowledge you. Like, you dove in, you did it, you did the work.
Thank you.
Way to go.
It would have been possible without like signing up for this program. Truly, I think it made the difference for me.
So good, Angel.
Yeah.
Really happy for you.
Yeah.
Super awesome. Congratulations to you. Yeah. Yeah. Good job, Angel. Good job. Good job, Angel. All right. So again, guys, want to be like Angel? I know we've got some slots left. I just checked. Like as part of my practice, like I said, I give complimentary coaching calls, right? Again, if you're somebody who fits any of these reasons, you're not going to want to book a call. If you're going to schedule it and cancel, or you're just not even open to the idea of investing in yourself, or you're wanting to do it all on your own, like save the slot, give it to somebody else. On the other hand, if you're somebody who is looking for help with your job search, you're going to show up to the call you schedule, you're at least open to the idea of investing in yourself, and you're ready to get hired, like book a coaching call. Let's again, guys, these are with real coaches. These are the same coaches that coach my clients. They're really awesome coaches, and I take a few calls too. So yeah. Grab it if you can. All right. Because you're either going to leave the call with massive insight. We'll be able to help. We won't be able to help you, and we'll refer you, or we will be able to help you, and we'll say what that looks like. So that's the form to book a call. And that's how that works. All right, guys, 9 tactics that you can use to get hired fast. Here we go. Let's say there's a lake, and in the middle of the lake, somebody's drowning. Okay. Somebody's drowning. They're surrounded by other people in little boats. Okay. So somebody's in the middle of the lake drowning. They're surrounded by other people in little boats. If that was a job search, metaphorically, who's the person drowning? Put it in the chat if you would, please. Okay. So the metaphor is there's somebody in the middle of the lake. They're surrounded by other people in little boats. If that was a job search, who's the person drowning? Put it in the chat if we would, please. Let's see if anybody gets the right answer here. Let's see who's going to get this right first. Okay, so somebody's in the middle. So Anthony says it's me. I'm the one drowning. I see you there, Anthony. Right? Let's see if anybody gets this right. So Joan says it's me. Yeah. AN. But you know what? We already got you, AN. So we already got you covered. And what are you doing putting your initials on here? Why aren't you being more visible? What if somebody on this call wanted to hire you and they didn't know your full name? All right. So both, everybody's drowning, Erica says. So Scott Kreitler. we're going to give it to you, Scott. So look, Scott, we're going to send you our email address. If you would email us, and we're going to send you that course about how to make your LinkedIn profile awesome. Because guys, you're not the one drowning. You're not the one drowning. You're in the boat. And the reason we know you're not the one drowning is you're sitting here on a webinar. Electronics wouldn't work underwater. I'm a diver. I know, right? The person drowning is the hiring manager. It's the company. And the reason we know they're drowning is they've told us. They put up a job description, say, help, we're drowning in work. Now, some job seekers in the boats are going to roll up and say, pick me, I'd be the best one for you. And the employer's like, well, I want out of the water, but not from that guy. That guy's creepy. Hey, Amy P, you booked a call. Nice job. I love the way you spell Amy there. That's a great way to spell Amy, right? So you're not the one drowning. You're in the boat. And this takes us to mindset, right? A lot of people are focused on, I hope they pick me. I hope they pick me. And that's wrong. Or it just doesn't work, right? Instead, we want to come from a place of service. People don't want to be sold. They want to be served. Okay. So if you can wrap your mind around this, it's really going to elevate your job search. You're not drowning. They are. But speaking of drowning, some of you know the show Deadliest Catch. Alaskan fishermen, right? They put these big steel cages with a little bit of bait on the bottom of the ocean floor trying to catch some crab. Some of you may have seen this. So sure enough, crabs come along. Charlie the crab comes along. He's like, oh, free lunch. So Charlie crab crawls in and more crabs join. There's Sally and Cheryl, right? Charlie's nibbling away with his buddies. But pretty soon the bait's gone. In the meantime, more and more crabs are joining. So eventually Charlie says, I'm out of here, boys. And you would think that was Charlie's voice because he's a crab. And no, that's just his voice. Isn't that weird? Yeah, it's kind of weird. Anyhow, so Charlie's like, I'm out of here, boys. Now here's the interesting part. When Charlie attempts to escape, the other crabs will pull Charlie back in. And Charlie's like, what the hell? Right? Or I guess he'd be like, what the hell? Right? The other crabs will even pull off one of his crab arms. They'll even do a crab murder on poor Charlie. Because crabs like to be with other crabs. It makes them feel safe. And of course, the sad part is everybody gets pulled up and becomes lunch, which brings us to environment. A lot of people don't even consider it, right? And it's one of the biggest things that can elevate your job search. A lot of times when people join the Get Hired Fast program, we help them with this, and this alone changes their job search, right? Environment, right? Environment eats motivation for lunch. And when I say environment, I'm talking about your physical, social, emotional, educational, digital, right? All the environments. It really, really, really has an impact. Some of us have a family environment. Hey, Alexis, you booked a coaching call. Nice job. We look forward to talking to you. So some of us have like a family environment where our family is like encouraging us to settle, right? They're encouraging us to settle, like, oh, take $50,000 less. Right. And it comes from a place of love because they want to protect us, and it's not particularly helpful. So the opportunity for you is to dial in your environment, right, as part of your job seeking system to get different results than the results you've been getting. Some of you are familiar with the idea of reference groups, right? You're the average weight, income, education of the 5 people you hang out with most. So you're going to want to optimize your environment. Okay. It really, really matters a lot. It's hard to hit a blurry target, which brings us to tactic number 3, which is the idea of vision. Some of you may know the proverb, where there is no vision, the people perish. I'd argue where there is no vision, the job seekers don't get hired, right? Sometimes I'll go to people and I'll say, Gomer, how much money do you want to make? And he'll say, well, anywhere between $50,000 and $150,000. I'm like, that's beautiful, Gomer. What do you want to do? Well, I want to help people. I'm like, that's beautiful. And it's super vague. This has to do with the reticular activating system, which is the part of our brain that will literally help us see whatever we tell it to look for. And if we don't have clarity, hey, Pascal, look forward to talking to you, right? If we don't have clarity around what we're looking for, our brain will literally be blind to it. There's a great Bruce Lee quote. He says, be careful what you tell yourself, your body's listening. That's what we're talking about here, right? You go to buy a new car. Hey, Kanzate, maybe we'll figure out how to pronounce your name, my friend. I hope so. Nice to see you booked a coaching call. Good job, right? Okay, so like, it really, really matters. You go and buy a new car, and you're like, nobody's got this car. And then you drive off the lot and you see it 5 times. It's because now your brain's looking for it. Reticular activating system. So you're going to want to have clarity around what the world needs, right? And where you might be able to make a difference. And if you don't, you're like a race car driver, right? When race car drivers drive 500 miles in a circle, they intentionally don't look at the outer wall because the car will tend to go where they look. So if you don't have clarity, you're like one of those race car drivers just driving in circles. No bueno, no bueno. All right, guys, I got another question for you. If I went to a store and I bought this, what would I be buying? right? What would I be buying? Put it in the chat if you would, please, right? So if I went to the store and I bought this thing, what would I actually be buying? Let's see if anybody gets this right. So Steven's on, man. Steven's moving fast. So Steven says it's a power drill, right? I see you there, Ann. All right. Ann's like on the stick, right? Although we don't know Ann's name. It's so sad. So Ronnie says a drill. Okay. Let's see if anybody gets it. Anybody else gets it, right? Peter Green says resources. All right, guys. So I'll give you guys just a few seconds. It's actually Andy's your name. Why didn't you put Andy? Put Andy. Don't hide your name. All right, guys. So here's the thing. Andy actually got the right answer. It's holes. It's holes. But Andy we already gave that LinkedIn course to Andy. So it's holes. When I go to the buy in the store and I buy this, I don't actually need this sitting in my garage. What I actually want are holes. And actually, I don't even want holes, right? I don't want a bunch of holes in my wall. That sounds terrible. What I actually want is a place to put the hook. And actually, I don't even want a bunch of hooks coming out of my walls. That sounds dangerous. Gash my arm open. What I really want is a place to put the picture. And actually, I don't even want a place to put the picture. What I want is the feeling I get when I look at the picture of my beautiful family that's hanging on the hook, that's in the hole, that's made by the drill. And this brings us to giving them safety, right? A lot of job seekers are out there just talking about themselves. Me. Let me sell myself. Let me tell you about my skills and experience and why I'd be the best person for you. You don't want to do any of that. And if you've been doing that and it hasn't been working, I understand, right? You don't want to do any of that. Now, some of job seekers are talking about them, but they're talking about the drill. You don't want to do that either, right? There's people that attended this workshop in like October, and they're coming to me now and they're saying, Eric, I'm doing all the stuff and it's not working. I'm like, show me. And what they're doing is they're busy talking about the drill instead of like the feeling. Hey, Mari E, you booked a coaching call. Nice job. We look forward to talking to you. Right? Because there's only one reason they're going to hire you. And it's not your skills, your experience, who you know. It's none of that. The one reason they're going to hire you is they trust you. And as Brene Brown has taught us, the way we build trust is through vulnerability, right? If we can make them feel seen, heard, and understood, if we can talk about the thing that keeps them up at night when they're laying in bed looking at the ceiling, that is what's going to build trust. It's what it's going to get us hired. Right? So this is the opportunity, folks. You see how this is so much more sophisticated than like hiding your age and messing around with the ATS. Sarah N just booked a call. Do you see how this is so much more effective? How this could be so much more effective for you? Do you understand why talking, hiding your age and executive summaries and like selling yourself, you understand why that doesn't work? People don't want to be sold, right? If you can dial this in, it's going to change your job search just like it has the literally thousands of people I've already worked with. It's available for you. How can you make them feel seen, heard, and understood? All right, guys, resumes. Here's one. Here's mine. Now, look, guys, resumes are like the least bad way we've come up with to do this since Roman time. And it's what people know. So the opportunity is for you to realize that resumes are just a communication piece. And regardless of what matters is what we say, how we say it, where we send it, who we send it to, it really matters. And remember, a good resume is about them. A good cover letter is about them. It's one of the things that we help people do in my program. They really get fast results when they do this, right? You don't want to communicate in a way that everybody else does because it's just a matter of professional camouflage. Like, for instance, guys, I got hyperlinks in my resume. Do you have yours? I got logos, right? I got a section called More Eric. Where's your more Andy or your more Sarah section? Okay. Opportunities for you. All right, guys, I got another question for you. If a job application is submitted and there is no follow-up, does it even make a sound? I would humbly suggest that it doesn't. And this brings us to the idea of follow-up. Really important. Now, some of you apply, right? And if you get an interview, you'll follow up. Don't do that, right? Apply and follow up. And by the way, you're not going to want to follow up with the hiring, with the recruiter, because they're like professionally trained ninjas at keeping you away from the hiring manager. You're going to want to follow up with the hiring manager. And guess what? The last thing you're going to want to say is, hey, I was just checking in. Hey, I just wanted you to know how passionate I am about your job because that's all about me. When we follow up, we want to do it in a way that makes them see possibility, that makes them feel seen, heard, and understood. Right? Now, some of you are like, well, but following up, gosh, that sounds pushy. I don't know, is it? Right? If you were in the boat and somebody was laying face down in the water and you said, hey, buddy, you okay? And they didn't move, you wouldn't be like, I don't want to be pushy. No, you'd jump in the water, you'd swim over, you'd flip them over, you'd start doing mouth to mouth. And if they were like, lady, I was just snorkeling, you'd be like, my bad. And you'd be willing to offend in the name of service. It's the same way here. So follow up. we can trust that they have all the resources and creativity they need to let us know if they don't want to hear from us. And we can be willing to offend in the name of service. This is how you get hired fast. This isn't about pleasing them. This isn't about selling ourselves. This is about serving them, right? Because people are going to believe what you show them or you tell. Now, some of you are like, but Eric, damn it, I would follow up. And a lot of times they don't put the contact information of the job of the hiring manager. I understand. I have a solution. I've got a course. It's called How to Contact Anybody. If you're listening to my voice right now, I want to send it to you for free. Here's how you get the course. One, you're going to go to my LinkedIn, right? Jessa and Jessa just dropped it in the chat. That's my LinkedIn URL, right? You're going to like follow me or connect with me or whatever it lets you do, right? And then you're going to send me a message through LinkedIn InMail. You're going to send me the message, the single word, chicken. Okay, so you're going to go to my LinkedIn, you're going to like follow me, and then you're going to message me the single word, chicken. And when you do that, we'll send you this course, How to Contact Anybody, and then you won't have to worry about how to contact anybody ever again because you'll be able to. How does that sound? Sounds pretty good. All right, guys, we're in the home stretch here. Tactic number 7, networking. You ever seen like the Academy Awards where some actor gets up there and she wins a big prize? And she's like, well, thanks. I got nobody to thank. And it's sort of awkward. And they're like, oh, I guess we got to. But no, she gets up there. She's like, I got to thank this person and this person. And they're trying to drag her off stage. When people do great things, we do it with other people, right? Remember, asking other people for help is a gift because they can know with certainty that you wouldn't ask for their help unless their help was worth asking for. Do you understand how like affirming that is? Getting asked for help is a gift. So why are you being so stingy asking all the people you know? And by the way, don't be trying to curate your Rolodex because you have a Rolodex, right? Don't be trying to curate your address book. Hey, Melinda B, you booked a coaching call. Nice job, right? Because as soon as we start trying to decide who might be able to help us and who might not, like there's a lot of good fish out there that we're ignoring. And by the way, speaking of fish, we don't want to have one line in the water. We want to filter the ocean, and we want to have a system for doing that. Regularly and consistently. That's how my clients get hired real damn fast. It's part of what we offer them in the Get Hired Fast program. All right, guys, interviews. Here it is. Most important interview advice in the world. I'm about to deliver it. Here it is. Don't answer their questions. What? Don't answer their questions, right? When you go into an interview, don't answer their questions because they're really only asking one question. And that question is this: can I trust you? Now, if we lived in that Ricky Gervais movie, right? The Invention of Lying, we could sit down for an interview and be like, hey, nice to meet you. Can we trust you? Nah, you can't trust me. Well, I'm going to say I'm going to be in touch, but I won't be. All right, that sounds great. See ya. We don't live in that world, right? So instead they ask questions about, tell me about a time you've had a professional achievement, or what's your greatest weakness, or tell me about yourself. Right. And we'll say, but what they're really asking is, can I trust you? So rather than answer their questions, you might as well give answers and tell stories that help build trust. Now, if it's a technical interview where they're asking you what 1 + 1 is, it's fine. Say 2 and realize they're still really asking you, can we trust you? And the way they're doing it is they're saying, hey, we're going to give you some technical problems to find out if we can trust that you understand what you're talking about. That's the whole ball game, folks. So hey, Matt K booked a coaching call. Nice job, guys. You guys are a great crowd, right? Right? They really don't care about the questions that they're just basically making mouth noise to get you to make mouth noise so they can evaluate the mouth noise that you've just made. That's the whole ball game here, folks. Right? So the opportunity is to realize that you want to connect during an interview, not perform. If you do that, you don't have to worry about the 900 other people that have fake applied on LinkedIn with that number that LinkedIn gives us. All right, guys, here we go. Final tactic. Tactic number 9, offers. I want to say 2 things. 1, as you go through job boards, you don't have to worry if you're qualified for any job. They'll have an opinion, and theirs is the one that counts. All right, so you don't have to worry about it. 2, you don't have to worry if you want a job unless and until it's offered, because unless and until it's offered, you're really just kind of negotiating with yourself. You don't know what's been offered, and very often nothing has. So unless and until that happens, you don't have to worry if you want the job. And it's at that point, once they've fallen in love with you, where you can say, hey, you want somebody who can do this and this and this and this and this? How can I do that for $1 a year working in Siberia? Right? And then now you're co-creating a solution with them. So that's the opportunity here when it comes to offers, my friends. Guys, you've been a great crowd. I want you to write this down. 4 strategies, 9 tactics. This is how you get hired fast right here. This is the whole ball game, my friends. This is it. So look, guys, I mentioned, and Victoria just took us up on it. Right? Nice job, Victoria. We look forward to talking to you. Like, as part of these workshops I do, I offer a complimentary coaching call, right? It's part of my practice, right? The purpose of this call is to, maybe take a look with a real coach to figure out what's going on with your job search, right? The commitment I make on this call is you're going to get some help, right? You're going to get coached. If we think we can help you, we will tell you what that looks like if you want to hear about it. If we don't think we can help you, we'll refer you to somebody else who can, or maybe there's a resource we can give you that'll help you in your job search. But either way, you're probably going to want to take us up on this coaching call. Again, the only requirements are you're wanting help with your job search. You're not going to schedule and not show up because that robs somebody else from having the slot. You're at least open to the idea of investing in yourself. You want somebody to pay you a little money, right? Be willing to invest a little money in yourself, and you're ready to get hired. So if that's something that you'd like to do, you can, right? Like I say, I've got a program. It's amazing. We can tell you all about it if you want to hear about it on the coaching call. But that's all I've got for you right now, my friends. Let's see if we've got some questions. Yeah, thanks, Jessa. Jessa's saying if the calendar's full, email us because we'll get that handled. So I didn't see too many questions. We went through that pretty quick because you guys are a little bit of a smaller crowd. So happy to have you here. So many of you are here. Any questions about any of the stuff that I've just shared? Whether it's with, okay, here we go. Anne-Marie's on the stick. What wording do you suggest in a follow-up message? So great question, Anne-Marie. I would definitely make it about them. So it could sound something. So if I was writing a follow-up message to you, hey, Andy, appreciate that. Right. So if I was writing a follow-up message to you, Anne, in the wake of this workshop, I might say, hi, Anne, the fact that you stayed to the end of the workshop and you were one of the first ones to answer a question, and especially a great question, says so much about your job search. It says that you're somebody who really is taking this seriously. Some employer out there is going to be lucky to grab you, Anne-Marie. No telling where you will land. It's super inspiring. Thanks for being here, right? Notice what I'm not talking about. I'm not talking about myself. Now, if I was followed up on a job thing, I might say something like, P.S., Anne-Marie, I may have missed it. What's keeping you from booking a free coaching call, right? That's where I put, hey, I recently just applied to your thing, right? The reason I'm thinking about, Anne-Marie, the reason I'm paying attention to you is because you came to my workshop. Yeah, wondering how your job search is. Why don't you come tell us? Anyhow, that's the answer I give you. All right. What other questions do we have, if any? And Jessa and Cherry, you guys have done a fantastic job. Thank you so much for your help today. I know we didn't see too many questions. Let's see if we've got any more. So I see Alan. I see you there, Alan. Alan said, how do you get around the AI bots? Well, Alan, it's interesting because I don't know that they exist. All right. So ATS algorithms, every organization a lot of big organizations have software that helps them take in job applications, and they're all different. It's not like there's one uniform matrix or Skynet or anything like that. So they're all different. And by the way, AI is getting pretty good. So presuming there are AI bots, I don't know that you or I are savvy enough to game the system to get around them. So it's for all of those reasons and more, I wouldn't worry about getting around the AI bots. I would spend all the time and energy you might be spending on trying to figure out ATS and just redivert that to connecting with a live human. And by the way, those of you who are getting like automated rejection notices, I hope you just ignore those. My clients do. Right. My clients certainly do. Actually, you know what, guys, let's show them Andrew, and because Andrew did this. He got a rejection letter and we coached him to ignore it. And here's what happened to Andrew. Let's put it on, please.
I got a job offer thanks to Win at Work. I really appreciate all the help and materials and one-on-one coaching. I applied cold to an organization I was interested in and received the automated response, we're pursuing other candidates. And then there was another posting for the same role or similar role in the same organization. And this time I really used a lot of the Win at Work process. I also really appreciate the coaching I received on interview prep from my coach, Patrick, and the Win at Work materials on interview prep. I feel like I really impressed the HR recruiter. She scheduled me for another interview with program directors a couple days later. They were also really impressed and said I had a lot of good answers, and I really just did what I learned in this program. Make it about them, talk about them, be authentic, and now I have my new job offer.
Yeah, way to go, Andrew. So you see what he did there? He just ignored it, right? He ignored all that. He circumvented. He found the hiring manager, and all of a sudden, magically, the HR was like, "We'd like to talk to you." This happens to my clients all the time because they get coaching. All right, I see a few more questions here. Nayef, will you share the slides? Nayef, you ought to get a replay of this in just a few minutes. Actually, you'll get a replay because Jessa and Cherry are rock stars, and they're gonna get the replay put together super fast. Thank you guys. So hey Joan, nice to see you, Joan. You booked a call. We look forward to talking to you. So Manali says, how do you stand out? It's a little bit of a trick question because it's not about us standing out. It's about making them stand out, Manali, right? That's the opportunity. Instead of focusing on how we can stand out, the opportunity instead is to make them feel like they're standing out, to make them feel like they're being seen, heard, and understood. That's what you're going to want to do. I don't want to coach you to stand out. I want to coach you to make them stand out. And it's a little bit of a trick question because that's how you're going to quote stand out, or you're going to get their attention. All right, guys, any other questions here? You guys have been a super great crowd. Really appreciate your being here. Guys, if you've been on the job search for any length of time, I just want to acknowledge you for your strength and stamina, and realize that other people have figured this out. You will too. Guys, as we end, if you don't mind, we're going to play that testimony from Charlotte and a few more. I'm going to leave a couple of these playing when I sign off. And just realize, guys, that if you've been on a job hunt, you don't have to keep doing it alone. Job hunting's hard enough doing it by yourself. Like you can adopt a system and just get this handled. Whatever you do, if you feel stuck, don't keep doing what you've been doing to get the same results you've been getting. That's the definition of insanity. So sending so much love to you all. And if you're watching the replay, you're cool too. Hope you come talk to us. And guys, if we could, let's play a couple testimonials now. Thanks all.
My name is Charlotte Jones. I got a new position and I got hired pretty fast in the last month of being with Win at Work. So I have been searching for a job for a little over 7 months, and I've been at Win at Work for just a month, for about 40 days. So I do really like the one-on-one time that I get with a coach or a career coach, counselor. And I also like that interaction and listening to the successes and the stories of how someone might be thinking about their job search, or how they might want to present themselves during interview, what may work and what hasn't worked. And I'd like to hear those stories from others because I found that I was having some of the same experiences. And then really when it came down to getting an offer and being able to connect with Eric directly and really get that one-on-one coaching, that was truly helpful. I felt like that was a white glove service that was worth, getting involved with and connecting with Win at Work.
Well, first, will you tell us your name?
Jeff Borker. I just want to thank all of you guys. I didn't know how fast this was going to work. And you guys have all been great. I mean, all the feedback that I've gotten from you and from Eric and from Diana and the group as a whole is very supportive, very, very uplifting. Everyone's willing to help out. And it's just been a great experience. It's something that I won't forget. It's something that I'm going to take a lot of these concepts into my work activity. The job that I'm going into really is a dream job for me. I was just like, this is something I have to do because 2.5 years of doing the same thing, again, nothing was working. I was getting rejections, I was getting ghosted, but I would say put any predispositions away, go into it with an open mind, do the webinar, do the introductory call, and really just do it because it works.
Hi, I am Marcia Gomes. I am, I guess you could say, a recent graduate of Get Hired Fast because I did get hired and pretty fast. I am currently in my second week at my new position after having gone through the Get Hired Fast Win at Work programming and methodology. And I don't think it's exaggeration and hyperbole to say that this program absolutely was the kicker in getting me to where I am right now. So very thankful, very learned a lot and a lot of shifting in perspective. And I think that was super instrumental in kind of changing the way I approached my job search and my job hunt and eventually getting to where I am and landing this really cool position that I'm in now. Yeah.
I started job searching a month before I started the program. It took me between 6 months and a year since COVID to find contract jobs. So when I got the notification, the Win at Work, Get Hired Fast, it was called Get Hired Fast email, I said, I just knew immediately this was the way to go to quicken the time. I immediately jumped on this because in the past, it had just taken so long to find work and find the right kind of work. I mean, I've had in my career a couple of really horrible contracts, and I knew my biggest problem in getting hired was first my resume. I felt comfortable about interviewing with companies. The interviews I was not worried about. It really was the resume. Doing that master resume from beginning to end with everything on it was incredibly freeing. I joined on 5/29 on an 8/11. I had not only a job offer, but the job offer that I wanted. And that was incredible. When I got immersed in this whole program, there are so many great things here. Just learning all these new tools and tips. And it was the power hours. They were boosters. And I love the fact that they had a theme every week as you were, going through this process. And it was just so comforting to have that. And then the individual coaching sessions, those were great.
It's Bethany Meadows. I joined Win at Work in June 30th. I'm currently working a position as a CRM project manager at a college in Miami, Florida. All the different components of the program, the network bomb, the power hours, the co-working sessions, the job coaching, put together a really good strategy and it helped me give me an approach to be able to do job search that was more holistic in terms of being able to not only think about applying for a job or whether or not I was qualified for it, but also to thinking about my attitude about the job search itself. And so that's something that really was important for me coming out of being unemployed for over a year and being laid off from a job that I've been at for about 9 years. So I had a long stretch of unemployment. Did other job search programs before, some paid, some unpaid. And I found that with Win at Work, there was just a large part of it was the mentality and just changing my thinking around how I approach a job search.
Oh gosh, this is going back in my memory. I would say I was probably searching for 2.5, 3 months before I came across Win at Work. I saw Eric. I had probably sent 20 resumes and I had had 2 different sets of interviews and never got any further. All I kept hearing was it is very competitive. It's so much different. And I just thought, you know what? Why am I doing this on my own? I need to find an expert to help me. I was in the midst of looking when I came across one of Eric's ads. It was an invitation to join a webinar. And so I did. He was great at building up and telling you what you needed to do and draw you in. I will say right off the gate, it was a completely different approach to job searching. Applying for jobs just isn't a fun thing. And it's easy to get burnt out and it's easy to start thinking negatively and you just don't want to do it anymore. But you guys were always there, kept encouraging us to keep doing it. And so I did. So having that support to urge me to keep going was one. Number 2, the completely different format for the resume was amazing. It was like nothing that I had ever seen before. I have received a number of comments. I felt much more confident sending out that polished cover letter and that polished resume. How long does it typically take for someone in the Win at Work program to get a job? And he gave percentages, and I don't remember what they were, but X amount in the first 6 weeks. And then I think it was a larger percentage in the first 3 months. And I'm like, okay, that's what I need to aim for is those first 3 months. And I wasn't too far. I may have been a week or two past that, but what he said was true. So that's exciting. And I feel like I got the best of everything I was looking for.